from Mashimoni to Line Saba. Unajua, you know Kibera, there's Kibera for people that can pay rent above 1,000 and people that can pay rent below 1,000. So most people that live in Line Saba, they can pay rent above 1,000. Sometimes up to 4,000 or 5,000, depending whether it is a Mabati house or Matope house, depending. So now this girl and her mom and 4 siblings, they live somewhere in between Mashimoni and Line Saba. Of course, you can tell, you see the difference. Kibera Line Saba is for the business people. Tararara, houses are expensive. In between Mashimoni and Line Saba, so that's where they are living. So a school in Kibera called Faith Junior Academy starts, and they are looking for students. It is, I think it was 400 per month or something like that. And this girl has been taken to that school. Remember, she has not been to class 1 to 4. It has been on and off. You go nursery, on and off. She cannot write. So she goes to class 5. Class 5, you know how teachers speak on you. So this teacher, English teacher, calls her and says, so and so read. It was lesson, English lesson. So the first word was B-O-T-H. B-O-T-H. That means both. Like both. She couldn't read. This is what she said. Bodhi. She was laughed at. Wow, she was laughed at. But anyway, class 5, she was part of drama, but this girl loved games. This girl loves games, loved games. She used to be part of games, choral verses, and so on and so forth. But interestingly, with children catch up very fast. Within 1 year, this girl moved, 1 year of being in class 5 in that school, moved from being unable to read to position 3 in the class. So we can conclude that she just lacked consistency in school. By the time she's in class 6, she's position 1. She can read. She was the best Insha writer. She was good in poetry, and so on and so forth. But one of the teachers really liked her. The teacher that taught languages, both languages. I don't know whether it happens in other schools where the English teacher is the same teacher who's teaching Swahili. But this girl was loved by this teacher. So she would write Insha or composition that would be read across the school. And when she has written something wrong, the teacher would call her and explain to her individually. Fast forward, in Kibera most times there are usually chaos of either politics or people don't want to pay rent and so on and so forth, demonstrations, just as it happens. So in the year 2001, there were, in the times of Kanu, one of the politicians came to Olympic Primary School. So this girl really wanted to be in Olympic Primary School because she thought children that go to Olympic Primary School, we used to call it Olimo, are children who have made it in life. They grew up well. So she really desired that she would go to that school, but she did not make it to go to that school. So one time, all schools in Kibera were meeting in Olympic Primary School, and apparently our school went, and she was part of that team. One of the politicians in that meeting said that rent in Kibera needs to be reduced. Now there are 2 major tribes in Kibera. There's a tribe that owns the houses, and other tribes, not that they don't own, but they own majority, that tribe. But the other tribe rents, other tribes rent. So, you know, in Kenya we are known for tribal clashes and so on and so forth. So when he said that, the tribe that owns the houses most people did not reduce rent, but there are people interpreted that the politician meant that we should not be paying rent. So chaos arose, and people were evicted, people were beaten, so people had to run for their lives. So our girl was taken to the village with her siblings, 3 of her siblings, and the mother remained in Nairobi with a smaller sibling, 3 of her siblings. So this time round, she's taken to the village to her grandmother's place. Her grandmother used to live in a town where she used to work as a matron in that town. So she was renting a house. Now, this grandmother is the wife to the grandfather. You remember the grandfather? It's the wife. But the grandfather lives in the village and the grandmother lives in a town because she works as a matron in one of the schools. So they are taken there, house is rented for them, so she lives there. So this girl becomes the parent, becomes the one to take care of her siblings there. But of course the grandmother lives there. Well, this is called growing up. So this girl is to grow up, to mother these children, to father them, to do everything. But then remember, she's supposed to go to class 7. So she stayed, I think it was around September. So she stayed the whole of that time. She did not go to school. So the grandmother, because the grandmother was working in a school, knew about education. And for her, education was not luxury. You remember we said in the slum, education is not a basic need. Basic needs are food, clothing, and shelter. So the grandmother, through her connections, she looked for a school that was like, 5 or so kilometers away. You go up the hills, down, tarara. So this girl had to take her siblings and be traveling with the siblings to that school. Remember, before that happens, she has to ensure that the siblings are fed. She has to ensure that the siblings are cleaned, they are disciplined, and so on and so forth. So she went to class 7 in the year 2002. Many Kenyans remember that in the year 2002 was during the transition of the KANU government and NARC. And most of the politicians in Ukambani were NARC, either NARC or KANU. But anyway, it was a political year. So December that year, well, before we get to December, this small town, auntie of this girl lived in this small town. So this auntie is a sister to the mother of this girl, and they lived in the same, let me say, you understand it as apartment, but let me say plot. There are people that would understand what that is. Remember, the mother of this girl has just taken her home together with her 4 siblings and rented a house. No mattress, just clothes, nothing else. So I don't know whether you know maize cobs. Is it maize cobs? When you harvest maize, you remove the top thin maganda yake. The dry ones, you put them in a gunia, many of them, and then you arrange them, and that would become your bed. So that's how she made a mattress for her siblings. And that's where they used to spend. Thank God for grandmothers, because her grandmother gave them sufurias, pots, and things so that they are able to cook. But what are they cooking? So this girl, of course, it's her life in the village, and she has to take care of her siblings. So she would go to the nearby farms and ask for work to do. So she would be shown cultivate, like weed. From here to there, you'll be given 2 kgs of maize and half a kg of beans. And for her, It had to be done for the sake of her siblings. Please note, she lived with relatives because nearby was her auntie. Her auntie used to have good life because they would afford 3 meals in a day. But for this girl, let's say it was not such a big deal because she was used to life. At some point, this girl would boil mangoes. Our Ukambani is known for mangoes. So I remember in 2002, October, November is when mangoes are beginning to come. I mean, they are producing, fruits are beginning to be seen. So it's either you wait, they are ready to eat, or you can harvest them and boil them and eat them. That is not the normal lifestyle. But because you have nothing to eat, you have to do it that way. At some point, while still in class 7, this girl got very tired of the poverty at home. So she had 20 shillings. She decided to go to Nairobi and look for her mother for the sake of the siblings. So she went and got a job, a manual job of farm. So she farmed, she was given 100 shillings. She came and bought 1 kg of maize and left the children and told them, the siblings, and told them, I'm going to Nairobi to look for mom. So what you do is this kg of maize, boil it and boil some mangoes, eat. I'll come after 2 days. She walked for 8 kilometers to get to Kitui town. So she got to Kitui town and she went. Those times, 2002, the Michuki law was not there. So it was difficult for, you could just be carried at an excess. She went to 3 buses asking for lift to Nairobi. Of course, being a child, everybody will refuse. But this girl was dressed in uniform because she was told, as long as you're in school uniform, you will be accepted. So this girl lied that she had come for a funeral and the people she came with left her, but she has to go back to Nairobi so that she goes back to school. 1 bus, the conductor accepted her. Please remember, she has 20 shillings in her pocket. So she got into the bus all the way to Country Bus. Now from Country Bus, she knew that from Country Bus, she knew where the buses are that go to Kibera Line Saba. So she boarded a Matri number 33 to Ngumo, which was 10 shillings. So in that Matri, she had 20 shillings, but the fare was 10 shillings. So she bought njugu. Remember, she has not eaten anything, and she left the house at 5 because she had walked for 8 kilometers to get to Nairobi, to get to Kitui town. She bought njugu. Immediately she got to Ngumo, she knew she would get to her mother's house. So she walked. Her mother saw her